Right now, tonight, you're going to do something your ancestors would consider insane. You're going to turn off the lights, lie down, close your eyes in total darkness on purpose. For 300,000 years, that single act, lying still in the dark, was one of the most dangerous things a human being could do. Not uncomfortable, not spooky, dangerous, the kind of dangerous where you don't wake up. And I don't mean that as some poetic exaggeration. The second the sun went down, our ancestors dropped to the bottom of the food chain, full stop, no exceptions. There were animals out there that could see you perfectly, and you couldn't see them at all. So here's the question I couldn't stop thinking about. If the night was that lethal, how did we survive it long enough to become us? Turns out the answer isn't just they got lucky. They adapted, they weaponized the dark, and some of what they did to survive it is still buried inside your body right now, tonight, the second you turn off that lamp. We're going to go there, all of it, starting with the first weirdest thing they did before fire even existed, and it's got nothing to do with fighting back. So picture this: no fire, no weapons that could actually do damage, just you, standing in the open as the sun drops below the horizon. Now here's the part that makes it so much worse. Your eyes are basically useless right now. It takes a human eye something like 30–45 minutes just to adjust to darkness, and even then, you're seeing blurry shapes at best. Meanwhile, the things hunting you, giant hyenas, saber-toothed cats, their eyes were built for this, practically night vision goggles. So you can't see them. They can see you just fine. That's not a fair fight. That's not even a fight. That's just dinner. So what did early humans actually do? This is the part people don't expect. They climbed. Before spears, before fire, before any of it, entire groups would climb up into trees right before dark and wedge themselves into the forks of branches to sleep, suspended, above the danger, trusting their own unconscious bodies not to roll off and fall to their deaths in the middle of the night. Which, think about that for a second, that's not a decision you make once. That's a decision your body has to keep making, unconsciously, every single night, for generations. And when a tree wasn't an option, it got even more intense. They went silent. Not quiet, silent. They had to train themselves to suppress coughing, snoring, even shifting in their sleep, because one snapped twig, one rustle, was basically ringing a dinner bell for anything downwind. And here's the thing, that's not ancient history staying in the past. That's why kids are almost universally afraid of the dark. That's why your heart still jumps when you hear a noise in an empty house at 2 a.m. That reaction didn't come from nowhere. That's a survival trait passed down from the ones who managed to stay quiet enough to make it to morning. Now, most people assume the next big leap for humanity was learning to fight back. Spears, weapons, finally standing our ground. But that's not actually what changed everything. What changed everything didn't give us better weapons at all. It rewired our brains. So somewhere around 1 million years ago, give or take, this stuff is hard to pin down exactly, early humans got their hands on fire. And I don't think we give this moment enough credit. We treat it like a trivia fact. Humans discovered fire. Cool. No, this is the single moment that flipped the entire food chain upside down. Because think about what fire actually does to a predator that hunts in the dark. Their eyes, their whole nervous system, it's built for low light. So when they run into a sudden, chaotic, flickering wall of orange light, they're not brave, they're not curious, they're confused, and they back off. A 400-pound predator with perfect night vision gets stopped in its tracks by something that would barely qualify as a candle to us. So for the first time ever, humans weren't hiding. They weren't up in a tree hoping not to fall. They were sitting out in the open, on the ground, in a circle, completely exposed, and completely safe. That's insane if you actually sit with it. But here's the part that I think is even bigger, and it's the part almost nobody talks about. Anthropologists who study the last hunter-gatherer tribes on Earth, groups in the Kalahari who still live something close to this ancient rhythm, noticed something strange about how these people talk. During the day, it's all business. Where's the water? Where's the herd? Who's doing what? Practical, logistics, nothing else. But the second the sun goes down and that fire gets lit, something shifts. The conversation completely changes. Suddenly, it's stories. It's history, who's related to who, moral dilemmas, myths. The big questions. Some researchers think this nightly shift is where a lot of human storytelling and culture first took root. Fire didn't just keep us safe, it might have given us the space, for the first time, to just sit and talk. So we didn't just survive the night with fire. We might have used it to start becoming who we are. But, and this is the part that's going to sound completely backwards, what they did once they actually closed their eyes by that fire breaks basically everything you've been told about a healthy 8 hours of sleep. Okay, so quick question. You ever wake up at 3 a.m. for no reason, just wide awake, and lie there annoyed, thinking something's wrong with you? Like your sleep is broken? It's not. And this is honestly one of my favorite parts of this whole topic, because it turns out that problem might be one of the oldest, most normal things a human body can do. Before artificial light existed, so for basically all of human history, almost nobody slept in one straight 8-hour block. That's actually a pretty recent habit. What people did instead is called biphasic sleep. You'd go to bed not long after dark, sleep for maybe 4 hours, and then just wake up. For an hour, sometimes 2. And this wasn't treated as some frustrating problem. People would tend the fire, talk quietly with whoever else was up, sometimes have sex, sometimes just lie there thinking. Then they'd drift into a second sleep until morning. And there's a theory for why our bodies might actually be built this way on purpose. It's called the sentinel hypothesis. Basically, if an entire tribe fell into deep sleep at exactly the same time, that's a massive vulnerability. One predator gets past the fire, and nobody's awake to notice. So the theory goes that human sleep timing naturally staggers across a group. Some people are wired to run late, the night owls. Some are wired to wake up early, the morning larks. Which means at almost any point in the night, somebody in the group was naturally, biologically, awake. A built-in rotating watch with nobody even having to assign it. So next time you're staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. annoyed at yourself, that might not be a malfunction. That might be your body doing exactly what it was built to do. And there's one more piece to this, something that happened when scientists actually tested this theory on modern people, and what they found in the results is the part that genuinely gave me chills. So back in the early 90s, a researcher named Thomas Wehr ran an experiment that I think about way more than is probably normal. He took a group of modern people, people like you and me, phones, electricity, the whole thing, and he cut it all off. No artificial light. 14 hours of darkness a night, every night, just like our ancestors would have had. And he just watched what happened. For the first week or two, not much. People were restless, kind of thrown off. But then, without anyone telling them to, without any instruction at all, their bodies just remembered. They started sleeping in that same split pattern, 4 hours, then awake for a stretch in the middle of the night, then 4 more hours. Nobody taught them that. It just surfaced. But here's the part that actually stopped me. During that awake window in the middle of the night, researchers checked their hormones, and their bodies were flooded with prolactin, which is this chemical linked to deep calm, the same kind of relaxed state you get right after something like meditation. These people weren't lying there anxious or annoyed. They were describing something closer to peaceful, almost meditative, a state that almost nobody in the modern world ever actually experiences anymore, because the second we get restless at night, we grab our phone and kill it instantly. And that's the part that gets me. We didn't just get rid of danger when we lit up the night with streetlights and screens, we might have quietly gotten rid of something else too. An entire piece of human experience that used to just happen every single night that we've almost completely erased without ever realizing it was there. So tonight, when you turn off your lamp and the room goes dark, you're not just going to sleep. You're stepping into the exact same darkness that your ancestors fought to survive in, adapted to, and in some strange way, maybe even needed.